And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Arcane Static and welcome back to Seduce Me the Otome. When last we left our intrepid heroine, she was trying to make the decision as to whether or not she'd go out with her friends or stay at home and help prepare for the stupid party that her fucking dad wants. So I think we are going to go out with Suzu and Naomi because I kind of want to try for the girl lover route in this one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, these guys will be fine. They're just a bunch of demons with magical powers, so it's fine.
Thank you for trusting us, miss.
We'll have everything done for you by the time you return home.
Is that so?
Alright, we'll wait here while you go get your things.
Rad! I was strangely relieved to know that everything was going to be okay while I was gone from the house. I trusted the guys enough to do everything they could for this house party, so my mind focused itself on hanging out with my friends. Neat. Eventually, I was out the door, walking toward Naomi's car. Naomi has a fucking car? Why don't I have a car? I have a house and I don't have a car? Suzu grabbed the entire back seat as I took the passenger side. Naomi started the car and drove off toward the city. It was nice driving out with my friends. After all that had happened, it was good to just go out and forget my troubles.
Well, since we got you out of the house, we might as well go to the mall and walk around a bit. We did just eat breakfast after all.
Yeah, that was a good meal, though.
Could have had more flavor, in my opinion.
Oh, Suzu, you picky-ass bitch.
Suzu, you eat chili peppers when you're bored. Everything you eat always needs more flavor.
Good. You need to teach me Suzu, or I still can't get over that Suzu. Who do I want to bone more, Suzu or Naomi? Can't get over that.
You never eat spicy things, Anderson. You don't know how it feels.
Oh, I'll be ready to eat some spicy things soon, if you know what I'm saying. I had it for lunch 2 days ago, though.
That's nothing.
Anyways, after the mall, what do you want to do? We could go to the Pink Lady Cafe and chill out with Kay. I'm sure she'd love the company.
Wonder who Kay is.
But we have to stop by the arcade. They have this new game out called Orion. You get to control this guy named Isaku, and you're part of the rebel forces, and you get to shoot things, and there's robots, and...
Sheesh, we get it, Suzu, we get it. We'll go to the arcade.
Jeez. Which one first, though? You know how popular Kay is. She'll be swamped with customers later in the day.
I'd rather go in the late afternoon. She has better options during the last hour of the cafe.
Fair enough.
So basically after the arcade?
You figured me out so quickly, Patterson.
What did I tell you about using my last name?
Well, let's go to... so it makes sense that the better options are at the end of the day for the cafe. So if you go to the arcade first, while it might be kind of swamped out at the cafe, there might be better stuff. On the other hand, I don't know, Suzu's a little bit short. Naomi might be more of my type. Let's go to the arcade first. It'll make more sense. Check out this Tron-ass bullshit. So we headed to the mall and walked around for a good amount of time before driving out to Moonfall Arcade. As weird as the name sounded, the arcade was one of the best arcades in the city, because it was probably the only arcade in the city, because in America we don't have fucking arcades anymore! Kids and teenagers lined the games, watching the players at the consoles as they anxiously waited to have their turn.
Oh, there it is!
Susie grabbed Naomi and me by the hands before dragging us to a section of the arcade where a bunch of kids had gathered in awe and excitement. In the middle of the crowd was a large game with 2 joystick platforms and a screen that flashed the name Orion every other second. In the background of the screen, a holographic playfield glimmered before us, revealing a neo-futuristic? Is that it? Is that a tautology? Battlefield and an enemy robot charging right at the camera.
This is the game you were excited about?
It looks really cool.
That's right! And I'm gonna play it so hard I'll beat the game in one shot.
Yeah, that's what everyone thinks about every arcade game. This is probably Battletoads levels. Suzu smirked and looked at me, hoping that I would join her as I usually did for partner games. I looked to Naomi, who merely rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and gave me the okay nod. I grinned before nodding to Suzu, who cheered in joy.
Woohoo! Alright, let's do this.
Why is the art always so different from each other? Ugh. It took us a good half hour before we were able to step up to the platforms. The point of the game was to beat the government and restore freedom to the general public. Wow, topical! We played as rebels and a robot. Rebels in a Robot, and the game quickly became a smash and bash game? Who fucking says that? It's a beat 'em up game. Playing with Suzu was always an adventure. We both knew what our strengths and weaknesses were, so it was easy to collaborate with each other. It wasn't long before we got into the swing of the game and were beating enemies like crazy. By the time we got to the boss, we were unstoppable. It was so refreshing to beat the boss and put our three-letter code names into the high score list.
And that is how you game. We are unstoppable, Anderson.
She said after having dumped $20 worth of quarters into the game. Suzu gave me a large smile, which made me smile back. I was happy to be able to hang out and have fun with my friend. Oh shit, oops. Well, let's save here anyway. But hang out with my friends like this. I felt free from worries or responsibilities. It was something I loved. We eventually lost track of the time and wound up staying longer than we expected, making us unable to stop at the cafe before going home to dress for the housewarming party. Lame. So we drove back. Naomi and Suzu picked up clothes and other necessities from their houses before driving back to the mansion. The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson company to show me off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own, even though I've literally only lived on my own for like 1.5 days and have had no chances to actually do anything that would prove me as being an adult. But whatever. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Oh, okay. I'll just hold my hand over my microphone like this. Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Actually, I'm naked. All right. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi and Suzu's faces turned from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Whoa, Suzu's the lesbian!
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I've just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. Oh, look at how color-coded they all are! I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants.
Whoa! They really know how to dress well, don't they?
Where did you get those clothes? Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman, even Sam, except for it's the same fucking... I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I distended my anus. God, Vincent. As I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down that final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Stop calling me that. It's awkward. Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
No, my dad's a dickbag and I want to push him down the very stairs I just walked. As ready as I'll ever be, to be honest, no or yes, I'm ready. Do I want to be confident? Or do I want to be not confident? Or do I want to just be like a milquetoast? Milquetoast is fine. I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I had done all that I could to prepare for it. Now it was all up to fate. The other boys smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. So before I opened the door, I took my grandfather's 12-gauge shotgun, put it up to the door, and pulled the trigger. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. My mother dressed like a princess, and my dad dressed like a sack of shit. Hey, Mom. Hey, sick fucking piece of shit.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
You bet it did.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
Fuck you. I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys? They didn't ask for verification or anything? I looked to the boys and noticed Sam and Eric staring intently at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? Fucking hope so. They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
Of course, that's what you would do. You'd count them as fucking items rather than people because you're a shitbag. My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
Good, that means I don't need you anymore. Get out of my house. The world around me stopped as my heart pounded in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord? Well, no. Her mother made him do it, but my mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
Fuck yourself. What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential is my business and mine alone, and not yours, you fucking gray-haired ass son of a bitch. My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but nodded in response. I looked to the incubi, but they were continuing to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Suzu raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Time did zoom forward because this is a visual novel. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a smile and a handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
Doing my best, difficult being independent, could be better. I feel fine has been pretty good. It's been okay. It's been pretty good, actually.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Sorry, but I don't want to talk to that. Thank you for your condolences. Sorry, but I don't want to talk about it.
Do you have college plans?
Fuck you. College, I don't need that. Yes, I do. It's kind of up in the air, we'll see. Yes, I do. I felt like the questions came up one after another because this is a visual novel and they're trying to give me to like set flags for later in the game. It was tough to answer some of them because they weren't about me. They were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
Ooh. That depends on who runs it, I guess. It will get back on track soon. It's hard to say I'm not an executive or I really don't care. It'll probably get back on track soon.
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has? It's a policy that reflects my own values. So I personally think it's great.
Should expand from just toys.
No, it's a toy. No, it's a toy company. The question stopped and I was back to being by my... So the first one of that three, I didn't click on anything, so maybe it was timed? Naomi and Suzu were mingling and the crowds in the incubi were doing their jobs, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know. It's the boy, isn't it? The son.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone.
Yep.
This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
Tell him that he can go away. Oh, look, it's probably gonna be a villain character. With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
He said, being the same voice actor as someone else. Simply nod, yep. Andrew was taken slightly aback, but gently smiled and lowered his hand with a nod in return. Ha, look at Mom. My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Look at his derp-ass face. Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Get out of my house. Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
What an awkward little shit. Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Fantastic. Oh wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. Maybe it's the fact that he's probably the game's first villain. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly. Whether it was fear or insult, Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them, because my dad's a fucking shitbag piece of ass. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO? I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Except for conversational skills aren't something that you should just go around and test. Fuck you.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
Suck my dick.
If you'll excuse me.
God, I hate this guy. God, I hate this guy. I mean, I don't really care for Andrew, so stay put. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it.
He's not CEO material.
Neither are you.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
Yeah, thanks for backing me up here, Mom.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
Our company? My company? You get the fuck out. I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word and he'd lecture me in front of everyone, and that was not something that I wanted at my housewarming party. I let out a sigh before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Huh? Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
He said with poison dripping from his voice.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mom. My father left my dad and me to slowly escort the guests out. My dad held his simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad looked at me in slight disappointment. I looked back at him in confusion. What did I do?
I overheard your conversation with our guests. You were stumbling as much as Lewis did.
Go fuck yourself. But
I don't want to hear excuses. I expect that you'll work on your speaking skills while you remain living here.
Get out of my house.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave.
God, I hope I can
Naomi
kill
and
this
Suzu
guy.
need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't
God,
mean
I
you
hope
should
I
stay
can
up all
kill
night.
this son of a bitch. Oh, I hope he gets killed. Right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
Okay, so one of you is still dressed well. What happened to you, Suzu?
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Yeah, see ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
You think I want to go back to the house that guy lives in? You come visit me without Dad. Jesus. All 4 of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad waving back to me. With the last of the guests gone, I sighed and sat on the staircase, exhausted. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see what happens after I am exhausted on the stairs in the next episode of Seduce Me. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, the like and subscribe buttons are waiting just below this video to tell you that your dad is a shitbag. Maybe your dad's not a shitbag. We should probably, let's try that one again. They're waiting just below this video to tell you that Poopbutt's dad is a shitbag. You can also follow my socials. That's the Facebook and Twitter that are down in the description box. And if you want to, you can also maybe throw some support my direction at the Patreon link that's there as well. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.